last in last class we saw that how to use the scanner class, right? If you want to take the input from the user, for that we are using the scanner class, right? If you want integer input, that time we are using the next int. So multiple methods are present inside the scanner class, we saw that. But today we will see the another topic, that is the constructor. Okay, today we'll see the new topic, that is the constructor. So what is mean by constructor? Simply, if we come here and if you create an object like new test. Okay, suppose if I am creating a new object, that is the new test, and here I am assigning, giving this name of, giving the name of this object, that is the obj. Okay, this is our new object, that is the obj. And suppose if you want to initialize the object, so for that simply we are using the constructor. Okay, what is the use of the constructor? If you want to initialize the object, for that we are using the constructor. There are two types of constructor we have, that is the parameter, three types of constructor we have. There is default constructor, no argument constructor, and the parameters constructor. We will see one by one, but before that we have to know that what is meant by constructor. So constructor is a block. Okay, constructor is block having same name as that of a class name, or we can say that constructor is a method. Okay, constructor is a method which having same name as a class name. We will simply come here, and what we will do, simply I will remove this one. And if you want to create a constructor, what I told you, constructor is method. I am creating a method. Public simply access modifier, then return time I am writing, and then we have to write the constructor. But one twist is there, constructor is same like a method, but its name is same like a class name. What is the name of our class? That is the test. Simply I will give my method name as a test, and this is close. You can say that I told you whatever we can write like that. It is the parenthesis open and parenthesis close. Then we can call this as a method. Right? This is a method, or we can say that this is a function. So this is a function now. Right? This is a function, and we have created the function with the name same name as a class name. So can we say that this is a constructor? Can we say that this is a constructor? So no, we cannot say this is a constructor. Why we are not calling this as a constructor? Because we have created, right, whatever we have mentioned here, constructor is block similar to method having same name as that of a class name. So we have created the method, and we have given same name as a class name to the method also. But I am telling that this is not a constructor. Why this is not a constructor? Because of constructor does not have any return type, not even void also. So if you want to create a constructor, we cannot have to write a return type here. Okay, we don't have to write a return type here. Simply we have to write the access modifier, and then method name we have to take same name as a class name, then parenthesis open and parenthesis close. If you write like that, our constructor is created. And wow, what is the use of the constructor? Why we are creating the constructor? Constructor is used to initialize an object. Initialize means assigning values to the object, or if you want to initialize a variable, assign values to the variable, we can say that. Okay. So constructor is nothing. Why we are using the constructor? Constructor is used to assign values to the used to initialize an object. Used to giving a values to the object, we can say that. Okay. So this is the constructor. We have created the same like a method, and we have given same name as a class name. Now what we will do, system.out.println, simply I am writing here, and here I am writing hello. Okay, simply I am writing hello. Now this thing is done. We have created the constructor. Inside that what we have wrote here, that is system.out.println and hello. But another thing is that how we will call the constructor. If we have method, how we will call that? We will simply create a object, and with the help of that object, we can simply call our class, right? Call our method. But here we have a constructor. How we will call the constructor? Okay, how we will call it the constructor? So it is more simple than the method. Means how we will create a how we will call the method? Simple. We have to create object. So test obj equals to new test. Okay, simply we are creating an object like that, and with the help of object, we are simply calling our method, right? But here this is our constructor. So how to call the constructor? Whenever you will create an object, okay, whenever you are creating an object, that time our constructor will call. Okay, whenever you are creating an object, that and simply your constructor will be called. Now we have created the object here. See, here we have created the object. Now we will try to run this one. Our constructor will be called or not. So if our constructor will call, so what it will print? That is the hello. It will be print on the console. Simply I will come here, and if I run this one, see, hello is printing on the console. It is printing because whenever we create an object, that time whatever constructor we have, that constructor will be called. Okay. Another thing is that suppose if I write here void, means if we write here return type, so what will happen? Can this time also if we call if we create a create an object, that time our constructor will call. So this is not a constructor, right? This is not a constructor because constructor don't have any return type. And now if I run this one also, so it won't run. See, is printing on the console because this is not calling here. Okay, this is not calling here. Now if you want to call this one, how we will call that? Simply we have to call with the help of object dot text. If we call like that, this time it will be called. Hello is printing on the console. But what is the difference between constructor like that? If you write the return type and if you not write the return type, so what will be happen? See, if you are writing or if you are creating a method which having same name as a class name, and if you are giving the return type here, so it is behave like a normal method. This is not a constructor, it is behave like a normal method. See, with the help of object also we are calling. And how we will call the constructor? Whenever we will create an object, that time our constructor will be simply called. Okay, now if I don't write this thing, means what will happen? Now this is a constructor. Okay, now this is a constructor, but if you write the return type here, so it is a normal method. Okay, it is behave like a normal method. Now test is a method here, and suppose if you not write here anything, means this is a constructor here. See, it is giving error here because we don't have to call the constructor like that. Whenever we will create an object, that time our constructor will simply call. Okay, okay, this type of constructor is called as the no argument constructor. Suppose if not write anything inside the parenthesis, so that is called as the no argument constructor. The constructor which does not having any parameter in that, so that is called as the no argument constructor. There are multiple types present inside the constructor. We will see one by one. First, we will see this theory. Only four modifiers are applicable for the constructor. That is the public, protected, default, and the private. We cannot able to write static, synchronize, and with the constructor. Okay, and constructor execute automatically when we create an object. So when we create an object, that our constructor will simply call. We don't have to call like that method object dot method name like that. We don't have to call. If we create an object, that our simply constructor will be called. Okay, that is done. And what is the use of the constructor? This is the very important thing. Why we are using the constructor? Constructor is used to initialize an object, not to create an object. Many people are confused between that. Constructor we are using for creating an object. No, constructor is used to initialize an object. Okay, constructor is used to initialize an object. Another thing is that what is the type of the constructor? There are three types of constructor we have. First is the default constructor or no argument constructor. We can say that. Then no argument constructor, that is the created by the programmer, and the parameterized constructor. We will see first this another two types, and then we will see the default constructor. Okay, if you learn like that, then it will be easy to understand. First, we will see the no argument constructor. No argument constructor is created by the programmer. Programmers means who? That is we. We all are the programmers now, right? So no argument constructor. No argument constructor means which type of constructor. So this like if we create a constructor and inside that constructor no parameter is there, so that is called as the no argument constructor. Constructor which does not have any parameter in that, so that is called as the no argument constructor. Another type we have, that is the parameterized constructor. So what is meant by parameterized constructor? Constructor which having the parameter. Okay, constructor which having the parameter, like we can declare one parameter, two parameter, or the number of parameter, that is called as the parameterized constructor. Suppose I am writing here int a, so I told you this is called as the parameter. Whatever thing we are writing inside the parenthesis, that is called as the parameter. So this is the parameter. And suppose if you want to call this one, how will call that? The constructor is saying that if you want to call this, you have to pass simply a value from this one. That is integer value you have to pass. If you pass the integer value while calling this one, that time also it will be called. Otherwise, it won't call. Here is the constructor, right? Here is the we are creating the object and how constructor will call. So whenever we create an object, that time our constructor will be simply called. Simply, what we need to do, we have to pass here the integer value. I'm passing 10 from here, and if I run this one here, hello will be print on the console. You can declare the number of parameter also. String name I am declaring here. How to call this one? How to call this one? You can speak also, no worries. If you speak for that time, you will be it will be better. We have to pass the parameter. Which parameter we have to pass? Yes, right. See, so what we need to do? Simply we have to pass here one integer value and another we have to pass the string value, right? So we have to pass the argument from here while calling the constructor. We have to pass one integer value and another string value. So simply I am passing here Java. And if I run this one, so now this will be called. These are the two types of constructor we have. First is the no argument constructor, and another one is the parameter constructor. These are easy only. The constructor which does not have any parameter, that is called as the no argument constructor, and the constructor which having the parameters like one parameter or the number of parameter, that is called as the parameterized constructor. Simply, right? Suppose if I writing here like that, public text, and here I am writing 2, and here I am writing 1. Okay, and another constructor I am creating here, and here I am writing. Okay, and suppose if I not write anything here, so what will be the output we will get now? What will 3, 2, another? Anyone have any other answer? What will be the output we will get? Anyone have any other answer? See carefully. See, whenever we create an object, okay, Shiva is saying 2 again. Okay, so okay, Vamsi is also saying 2. Okay. So whenever we create an object, that time our constructor will be called. Right. Here, what we have, how much constructor we have inside our program? How much constructor we have inside our program now? How much constructor we have? No, three. Okay, three constructor we have. See here, what we will do if we run this program, where JVM will come into the main method. Right, it is into the main method JVM will come. Here we are creating an object, so it will look for the constructor first, right? Here we are creating the object, so it will be look for the constructor first. So it will be look, and here any parameter is there? No. So it will look the constructor which does not having any parameter. So it will become here, this is the first constructor. It will see the constructor which does not having any parameter. So it will be the constructor which does not having any parameter. No, it has the two parameter like int and string name. Another, it will become to the another constructor which does not having any parameter. So yes, this is the constructor, so it will print 2 on the console. So this like our constructor will be work. See, 2. After that, here simply if I want to call the another constructor, so how will call that? New test we have to write, means if you want to call the constructor, simply we have to create the object, right? So object 1 I am writing here, and simply from here if I pass. Now, which constructor will be called? What will be the output we will get? Three, three, three we will get, right? First 2 and 3. 2 and 3 we will get. Now, here simply This time it will become here constructor does not having any parameters, it will become to the no argument constructor first, and 2 will be print on the console. Again it will come downside. Here we are calling the constructor again with having the one character parameter. So it will come here, it will be check constructor with one character parameter. So it is not a constructor. This is not a constructor which having one character parameter. This is the third constructor which does not which having the one character parameter. So it will come here and it will print 3 on the console. Here we have a three constructor. The three constructor. First constructor is a parameterized constructor because it have a two parameters. Another constructor we have, this is a no argument constructor because this does not having any parameter in that. Another constructor we have, that is the this is also parameter constructor because it have only the one parameter. The constructor which having the parameter, that is called as the parameter constructor. The constructor which does not having any parameter, that is called as the no argument constructor. Okay, and both the constructor are created by the programmer. Another thing is that default constructor, the no argument constructor. Default constructor who will create, that is the compiler. Compiler will create a default constructor. When it will be create a constructor, when don't programmer will not create any constructor, not a single also. That time compiler will create a constructor that is called as the default constructor. Okay, that is the default. Suppose here if you are not creating any constructor, now we don't have any, we don't create, not created any constructor now. Right. So what a compiler will do? Compiler will create one constructor here like that, public, then paste, and here it will be add super, like we will see what is the super keyword, what is the use of the super keyword at all. What compiler will do? Compiler will create a constructor like that. Internally it will be created, it is not visible for the programmer. Okay. Internally compiler will create a constructor like that. This is the constructor. This constructor is known as the default constructor. Suppose programmer will not create any constructor, not a single also. That time compiler will create one constructor that is called as the default constructor. And see here, it have any parameter? No, it does not having any parameter. Which type of constructor is this? This is the no argument constructor. So we can say that this is a default constructor or the no argument constructor which is created by the compiler. And when it will be created, so when programmer is not create any constructor, not a single also, that time compiler will create one constructor which does not having any parameter, that is called as the default constructor. Okay, and it is created, it will be created by the created internally, it is not visible by the programmer. Okay, these are the three types of constructor. We saw that first one is the default constructor, another one is the no argument constructor, and another one is the parameters constructor. And how to declare the constructor? Simply we have to write a access modifier, and then we have to write the class name, we have to write the method name, but method name must be a same name as the class name. Yeah, right. And another point is that constructor does not having any return type, not void also. So that is all about the constructor. And what is the use of the constructor? Constructor is used to initialize an object, not to create an object. Constructor is used to initialize an object, not to create an object. And what is the use of the default constructor? Sometimes you notice that like if you are not mentioning anything on the, suppose we have a variable int a equals to 10. So what is the value of a now? That is the 10. Right. Suppose if you are not mentioning any value in that, so what is the value of a now? That is the default value. That is the 0. What is the default value of integer? That is the 0. If I mention here string a, now what is the value of a here? The default value, that is the null. Okay. Null will be assigned to the a. So this default value will be assigned to the variable is done by the default constructor only. Okay. The default constructor is responsible to assign the default values to the variable. Okay. This is the three types we saw today. Is the construct first is the default constructor, no argument constructor, and the parameter constructor. A default constructor is created by the compiler. No argument constructor is created by programmer. And parameters constructor is created by the programmer only. Okay. So anyone have any doubt here? Anyone have any doubt? Anyone have any doubt here? Prithviraj is saying no. Okay. Okay, so that's it for today. Yes, yes, yes. First, constructor and method. Okay, see, simply this is the constructor. Constructor, we saw that. That is the, if you want to create a constructor, what you need to do? Simply we have to write a access modifier, and then we now need to write a method name, right? Like that we need to write. Yeah, right. And constructor don't have any return type. So suppose if we write like that, so it will be method. It will be behave like a method. But if we not write like that, so it is a constructor now. So suppose I am writing here system dot out here, and here I am writing simply one will print. And suppose we are creating a method, it is public, then void, and suppose I am writing m1 here. So this is a method, right? This is a method and this is a constructor. Constructor does not have any return type and its name is same like a class name, right? Constructor name is same like a class name. So this is a constructor and this is a method. So suppose I'm writing here system.out. Here I'm writing two. Here I'm writing creating a object is text. Okay. So when constructor will be called, then we will create an object that our constructor will be simply called. If I run this one now, so constructor will be print. Whatever we have right inside the constructor, that will be print. Suppose if you want to call this method, how we will call this method? So simply we have to call with the help of object, that is obj.yum1. If you want to call the method with the help of object, we can call the method. So this time what it will be called? It will be called constructor in this line, and after that it will be called method in this line. If I run this one now, see 1 and 2 is printing on the console. How we will call the constructor? With the help of when we create an object, that time our constructor will be called. Okay, and when we will call how we will call our method? With the help of object we can call the method. And suppose if here if we write a test, same name as a class name, and here we are giving the return type also. Now if I remove this one, can our this 1 and 2 will be print on the console? So see, no, 2 is not printing because now if you write here the return type and if you give the same name as a class name also, now it is behave like a normal method. This is not a constructor. And constructor does not have any return type. Okay, and how to call the constructor? With the help of when we create an object, that time our constructor will be called. Now if you want to call this method, how we'll call that? Simply we have to write here obj dot text. And if I write like that, so simply we run this one also, so 1 and 2 will be print on the console. That is the difference between constructor and the method. So constructor does not have any return type, but method have the return type. That is the difference between constructor and method. Okay. Hello. Okay. Okay. So anyone have any another doubt? Any another doubt? Anyone have? Anyone have any another doubt? Yes or no? Okay. Okay. Okay, so today's assignment is that you have to create the program on the constructor. That is both the constructor, that is the uh, no argument constructor and the sorry no argument constructor and the parameterized constructor, and you have to submit on the group. And whatever assignment is given by the Hari also, that also you have to complete. You have to complete and you have to send it on the group. Okay, that's it for today, guys. Thank you for your time. We'll meet tomorrow. Bye bye.